Hello, we're only a few short weeks away from school buses, lunch money, and homework. As our kids head back to school, we talk to one local school district where students are working hard to have the best house in the building. We'll explain. And some local teachers spend part of their summer on a field trip to Alabama and Tennessee for lessons from the civil rights era, best learned in classrooms without borders. Plus, there's a weekend of music coming up. It's a festival to benefit local immigrants. We'll talk to the organizers of Pittsburgh's All Together Now Music Festival. So pull up a chair and meet us at the corner. Intersection starts right now. Hello, I'm Lisa Smith, the Director of Community Impact at KDKA Plus and the host of Intersections. Pretty soon, school kids from all around Western Pennsylvania will be heading back to school, and many kids are looking forward to it, especially in the Duquesne City School District. Duquesne is one of several districts locally and around the country that have incorporated the Ron Clark Academy House system, and they say they are seeing a difference. Here to tell us more are Dr. Sue Mariani. She is the superintendent of Duquesne City Schools. Also, we have Jessie Taylor, a middle school teacher with Duquesne City Schools. Thank you both so much for being with us. Yeah, so Dr. Mariani, first of all, just kind of let us know, how did this all come about with Duquesne being connected with the Ron Clark Academy?
Sure, so it started out of a grant from Huntington Bank called Ignite the Classroom. And with that, they partnered with a lot of other philanthropies in the Western Pennsylvania region, but specifically Consortium of Public Education. And so we were one of 15 school districts who said, yes, we wanted to go hear more and see what we could learn from what Ron Clark is doing, because we know it's a internationally known school. And so we got to go last summer. A couple of us got to go last summer, and it's been a game changer for our students and our families and even our staff since then.
So this is in Atlanta, the Ron Clark Academy. So explain what exactly it is and what they do that's so different there.
Sure. So they really, really put the, not that you don't put kids first, because everyone does, but it really puts it on a stage. They really focus on creating like a family type atmosphere in the house system. And so Ron Clark truly believes that when they have a wheel and the kids spin a wheel and then they get slide certified, so they get down a slide that's built into their school, right into their school, 2 of them actually. And the kids are placed in 4 different houses. And so it really becomes this opportunity for dynamic teaching, dynamic student engagement, and that's what we're trying really hard to replicate.
Yeah, so I know there's 4 colors. I have black, red, green, and blue, is that right? Yes. So Jessie, tell me a little bit about your experience with it. It started last year for Duquesne, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so go ahead.
We started last year. I am the teacher leader of the greenhouse. We have 4 core middle school teachers. I teach science, and the kids that we say fate has chosen them, right, to be in the greenhouse. They get to choose this colored ball, whatever color it is. We tried to do as much as Ron Clark as we can, right? So we had this ginormous slide that the kids got to go down. They were celebrated in whatever color that they drew, whatever house that they were put in. So the students that were put into the greenhouse, we have had an amazing experience. It's called Izabindi. It's the House of Courage, and we really got to hone into that. And even in my personal life, I use it all the time. I wear my bracelet every day. I think of those kids. We really have a couple house leaders, students that are the ones to lead the chants and lead the cheers and celebrate those other kids that get points for their house.
Yeah, and so give us the names for all of the houses. So what is the black color? What is that one called?
Black is altruismo.
Okay.
That's the house of,
Givers, Portuguese, right?
That's right.
Okay, and then the red house is Amistad? Okay, and that comes from Mexico and it's friendship, correct?
That's correct.
And then you talked about green, and then blue is French. I can't pronounce it. What is the blue house?
Blue is Revere. That's Dr. Mariani's house. So I was going to allow her to speak on that.
All right. So tell us about
Or the House of Dreams.
the Dreamers. So how do you guys use these houses and what they mean in terms of bringing it into the school culture? How do you do that?
So when we initially started, the middle school specifically starts every day in their house and ends every day in their house. So they get to start with their house family and they end the day with their house family. And just the whole idea of really supporting one another and their house. And so they work hard to earn house points, they earn individual points. And then at the end of the month, we have monthly challenges that the middle school team has set up. I can't take credit for that. That was something that they did. Ms. Taylor, Mr. Urim, Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Ryan. And they really just kind of, and the kids initially struggled at first when they got their house picked because they weren't with their buddy or they weren't with their best friend. And so they struggled at first, but as the year had continued on, the ability that the teachers have to develop such deep relationships with our kids and being able to start their day and end their day with that one particular teacher has truly made a true impact on our kids. We saw in our first year of implementation alone a 74.4% decrease in discipline incidents and referrals.
Wow.
In middle school.
Wow. Yeah.
Like that's the true impact that building a strong relationship with the students and the idea behind the Ron Clark Academy House system has worked so dynamic for us. And I'm just so proud of the teachers. I'm just so glad to be able to support them. And they're very quick to say, hey, can we try this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you need? And so it's really been to see our kids grow too. I think that's the more inspiring piece. Students who normally would have ended in a suspension because of a fist fight are now taking their problems or their disagreements back to their house and working through it in a restorative type of manner. And so it's really had a huge impact on what our middle school is able to do and accomplish. We have better attendance from this. We obviously had the discipline referrals, and even the academics are even better. So.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's like this accountability that's built into this. Is that what you would say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there are house rules. So are all the rules different for each house, or the rules are the same for all the houses? How does that work?
They're the same. They're called the Essential 55. This is something that we took from Ron Clark, and we kind of made it our own. But the kids, some of the rules are very commonplace, right? When you first tell your students that you have 55 rules, they look at you with the biggest eyes in the world. Like, how are we going to learn these, right? But some are use eye contact when speaking to an adult. Introduce yourself when you meet somebody new. And it's kind of on the teachers. We're like, oh, that was commonplace, but we need to give them a reward for that. That's something that should be celebrated. These 55 rules, some of them are funny. We have one that's like no talkies in the classroom. Our students love the talkie chips. But they hold each other accountable in a way that they're like, oh, rule 47, rule 47. You know, they're kind of telling on the other teams because they want the reward.
Right.
But again, one of those 55, essential 55 is you can't ask for points, right? You have to do the work. And we're lucky enough to have a live screen TV in our hallway, in our middle school hallway. In between classes, you'll see the students go and they'll stare at the TV.
Oh, looking at the leaderboard.
Yeah, Turismo, yeah, right, they're back on top. And then they go to their next class and they're like, okay, I need points for Zabindi.
Well, we're pretty much out of time, but this is definitely an interesting approach that you guys have, and so hopefully we'll have another chance to come and see it in person.
Yes.
And see how it's working. So thank you both so much for coming. We appreciate it.
No, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And coming up, local teachers plan for the new school year with an informative trip on civil rights. Intersections, we'll be right back. Well, a number of area teachers spent several weeks this summer in the classroom as the students. The subject was civil rights, and their instructors were locations and participants in the civil rights movement. It's all through a Pittsburgh-based program called Classrooms Without Borders. And so here to talk all about the program are Kate Lukasiewicz. She is the Education Programs Director with Classrooms Without Borders. Also joining us is Sam Black. He is the Director of African Americans Program at the Heinz History Center, along with Rhonda Green, a teacher from Woodland Hills High School. Thank you all all so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so Kate, first of all, tell us a little bit about Classrooms Without Borders and why this subject of civil rights.
Classrooms Without Borders was founded 15 years ago by Dr. Zippy Gur, who thought that educators really should go see the places that they talk about. And so she started with seminars to study the Holocaust in Poland and to study Judaism in Israel, and decided in 2020 and 2021 that she wanted to really broaden the scope of the work so it would feel more responsive to our community here in the United States, and added this seminar to the civil rights movement.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about where you decided to go with the program this year, and what were some of the areas that you really wanted to focus on?
We start our seminar in Atlanta, and of course that's the birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr., so it makes sense for us to begin there. He's not the originator of the civil rights movement, but obviously a consequential figure. We spend time in Montgomery, Alabama. We visit all 3 Equal Justice Initiative sites, studying the legacy of enslavement through mass incarceration. We celebrate at the Freedom Sculpture Monument Park. We spend time in Selma, Alabama, and I know it's a highlight for everyone to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge together. Sure. We spend a night in Birmingham thinking about the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing and meeting a survivor of that bombing. Mm-hmm. And we wrap up in Memphis, which brings us to the end of Dr. King's civil rights work. Yeah.
So Sam, obviously you're with the Hines and you work with African American program there, but you were also part of this and you went along, but they also had a chance to see the exhibit at the Hines, correct?
Well, that was part of the precursor to the tour. I serve as one of 2 scholars. Mm-hmm. Michael Narragon, who's a teacher at Winchester Thurston, is the other scholar on the trip. So I really do think that it's a great opportunity for teachers and students to really walk in the footsteps of those people who were activists during the civil rights movement, and then to meet some of these people who to the shock of many, that they were very young during the civil rights movement. Some were teenagers, some were elementary school students, and or college students, who were the activists during the movement.
Yeah. So Rhonda, you went. Was there anything along this trip that you maybe didn't know before, or that you found really interesting or inspiring about, some of the things that you were seeing?
Well, I know when we started, we had seminars before we went, and we talked about landscaped literature, which is actually looking at the landscape as giving you the picture or the message. But one of the things that most impacted me, I think, would be meeting some of the people, as they refer to themselves as foot soldiers in the movement. And like they said, just knowing that some of them were 15, 16. They were, I teach 11th and 12th grade at high school, just knowing that they were my high schoolers' age that were participating in this. So having an opportunity to talk to them and having them share their stories with us, it really brought the history alive. As we talk about that literature, it gave us gave me a new perspective of just what was happening. It's good to read about it and to learn about it, but to get firsthand account, the impact of that was just tremendous.
Yeah, so how do you see you using what you learned in the classroom?
So some of the things that we learned, actually there was a couple activities that we actually did. One was just a perspective when we were working in the one synagogue within our trip, and they had this idea of luggage, and they had different people's perspective of how they felt about the civil rights movement at the time. So an activity like that, just looking at how active were some people apprehensive, or some people all in. I think that's a good activity for our students to look at today when we're looking at some of the political structures that we're seeing today. How active are you, and how much would you be willing to put yourself on the line for something that you feel so deeply about? Yeah. So I think that's part of the thing that we can learn, and just the idea of looking at the spaces and places that they were. Mm-hmm. Some of the things in the places that we were at was just in and of itself amazing, simply because you have this idea from looking at books or reading about it, but once you get an opportunity to see it, it even brings the perspective alive. So just maybe bringing some of that, like I picked up lots of books, so just some of the picture art or some of the things that we saw in the Legacy Museum, just bringing that into the students and having them think about, because when we're in Legacy, it goes from enslavement to mass incarceration, and just how both of those things actually go together, and having them even think about in terms of how does this look in society today from here to there.
You're ready to go to class. So we only have like about 30 seconds left, but so Kate, moving forward, how does this continue? And is this something that will continue, that you guys do see continuing?
Thank you for that. I would love to tell you, yes, we are headed to the American South in 2026 in the third week of June. And I'm exceptionally excited about this because it is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And I'm looking forward to celebrating with teachers how far we've grown as a country and thinking about how we work collectively and individually to advance the mission of this nation.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for joining us and sharing this story as kids are heading back to school. And this is a topic that they'll be learning about. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And coming up, we'll talk to the organizers of the All Together Now Music Festival, helping Pittsburgh immigrants. Intersections, we'll be right back. Well, there are an estimated 27,000 immigrants in the Pittsburgh area from more than 25 countries. And for those who are newly arriving, there's much to learn about their new home. But with growing challenges and federal changes, local musicians are coming together to help. They are hosting a 4-day concert called All Together Now Music Festival. The proceeds from the festival will benefit a collaborative of 20 Pittsburgh-based organizations that help immigrants and refugees. So joining us now to share all about this music festival are Ted Simarata and Susan Spangler. They are the organizers. Thank you both so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So Ted, just kind of start us off. Like, how did this idea come about?
Well, we were very tuned into what was happening with changes with regards to refugees and the borders being closed to many countries and the consequent hardships that were falling upon the immigrants and refugees who are already in our community because federal funding was cut severely. We have been both involved in just supporting a few of the resettlement agencies in Pittsburgh, and when we learned this, we couldn't sit still. We were deeply troubled and heartbroken, and we said we need to do something.
Yeah.
Susan and I, we looked at one another and said, well, what can we do? And there have been models out there like Live Aid and We Are the World, where music has been a source of and a means of getting a message out and also helping to raise funds. And for us, we wanted to promote both the message and to help with the loss of revenue.
Yeah. I think I looked up Live Aid. I think they may be in their 40th year this year.
Yes.
Right.
So the organization that you're working with is Collaborative for Immigrant Impact. Susan, were you guys familiar with that organization? How did you guys connect with them?
So the collaborative is relatively newly formed. When the agencies felt really the extreme challenges of the funding cuts, there was an initiative to gather together as a collaborative, as a consortium, so that all of the agencies could support one another as they're supporting refugees so nobody would fall through the cracks. We found out about the collaborative through Jewish Family and Community Services, who are our organizational partner and have played a huge role in helping this festival to happen. And we've been working with the collaborative ever since. And as Ted mentioned, or as you mentioned, all of the proceeds from the festival go directly to the collaborative, who will then make decisions about where the money can best serve immigrants in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So Ted, tell us a little bit about the music, because people are probably really wanting to hear the different types and styles of music that are going to be part of this festival. By the way, give us the dates for the festival.
Festival is August 7, 8, 9, and 10,
All right.
Thursday through Sunday.
Coming up soon. So tell us a little bit about the music.
Well, the music, is a range of genres, and a lot of the artists, in fact, were initially contacted by Susan because of her connections and involvement in the music world. Yeah. But the music is going to be everything from rock and roll to bluegrass to 30s and 40s jazz. What else? Singer-songwriters, some bluegrass and Appalachian music. Really a great array of music, I think, that will speak to people of all ages.
Yeah. And about how many groups have already contacted you all to say, yeah, we want to do this?
There are over 30 bands and 12 venues. And when we contacted bands, the immediate response to donating their time and talent was absolutely, we want to support immigrants in Pittsburgh. And the immediate response from venues was absolutely, we'll donate our space. We want to help with the agencies who are helping immigrants in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. It's been an incredible outpouring of heartfelt care from bands and from the venues in which they'll be performing.
Yeah. Did that surprise you at all that everyone said yes?
It wasn't so much as a surprise as it was a validation of the goodness that's here, and how much people really do want to help and how ready they are to say yes.
Yeah. All right, so we want to show the flyer that you guys have that kind of shows all of the groups that are performing. And again, as you said, the dates are August 7th through the 10th. Mm-hmm. And then the information, you guys have a website, and it's alltogetherpgh.com. And they can go on that website and they can buy tickets and see the locations because there's so many of them. But some of them are also kind of a donation, some of the performances, yes. Right? And then Sunday, we got 30 seconds. Sunday is kind of the final, and there's something special on Sunday. Tell us quickly about the Sunday
yes.
part.
Sunday will be a very special event with multicultural performances, Ukrainian dancers, Afghan dancers, Brazilian singers, a mariachi player, dancers from Bhutan, and also there'll be speakers from the collaborative that will really let people know when you donate, here's what your money makes possible. They'll really let people know what immigrants are facing right now. And in addition to that, the mayor will be speaking and making a special proclamation. Yeah. So we hope people will come. That event is donations at the door. So yes. We want to welcome everyone who can come to Sunday's event at 3 o'clock at East Liberty Presbyterian Church.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining us, and we'll see if this happens again in the future. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll have my last word when we come back. Music is more than words strung together. It's meaningful and sometimes life-changing. It's real stories. Music also has the ability to bring people together in one harmonious place where together we can all make a difference. We'll see you next time.